All right, shalom, shalom. Brother Yahawah by Yahawah, the Hebrew Israelites, specifically the Lions Den camp down here, Jacksonville, Florida. Make this quick video. This is going to be a land back off of a video done by Elder Apostle Tahar, and I think the video that he did was a land back off of another Atham video. So anyway, before I get started, let me give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father. Paleo Hebrew. I'm saying Ka Halayim, La Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Hawakakadash. I give double honors to the Elder Apostle GMS and rule well. Shalom to my Elder Apostle Harwan of the Lions Den camp down here in Jacksonville, Florida. And a big salute. Shalom to all the Akim that's out there pushing the word in all truth and sincerity. So, the reason I'm making this video is because I had a dream not too long ago, and I didn't make any video or do any lesson on that dream, but actually I made an attempt to, but the video, just things just weren't working right, and trying to make the video. Okay, so there's no coincidences. I guess it wasn't supposed to be made at that time, but then when I watched this video here, I guess it just it clicked right in the spirit. It's just like, all right, it's time to go ahead and put this out, because if these prophecies come to pass, we're getting steps closer each day to the MOTB, okay, which we know is the micro C hip. We know it's not sin, okay, it's not anything else out here that folks are trying to say it's going to be, okay, which most Israelite camps at this time have basically said, okay, you know what, yeah, that's what it is. But you still got some holdouts, all right, some hard-headed 2/3, okay, that want to say, okay, it's something else, okay, and they're going to have to eat that. I mean, it is what it is. They're going to have to eat that unless they repent and come to the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding based on the scriptures and based on the teachings of our elder apostles and forefathers, that this thing is, it simply is what it is, okay. It's an insertion, okay, and it's going to go in the right hand or in the forehead, as the scriptures have said. All right, and both of those technologies are out right now. So it's not like this is some far-fetched idea where you have to dig, and oh man, you know what? Nah, that can't be right, because I found this right here, and see this lines up with what this says. No, okay. It's plain. The technology is there. All right. The wicked rulers of this world have made it so. Okay, and they're not hiding it. They're not hiding it. So, why some knuckleheads still don't want to, still don't want to believe, and still don't want to, base their doctrine on correct and righteous teachings and on the scriptures. Hey, they're marked, okay? They're marked. But anyway, let me go ahead and I'm going to play a little bit of this, and then I'm going to, talk about my dream. I'm going to just play just a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about the dream I had.
So, everything is quickly going digital. They make your life easier. In the tri-state area, and I'm pretty sure around the whole country, but in our New York, Jersey, Connecticut area, that includes Pennsylvania and out of states nearby to the like Delaware, Philly, DC, places like that. I believe that same system, Easy Pass, works the same way. When you're using Easy Pass, which I got an Easy Pass, I avoid the tolls, but sometimes you can't help it. I got the Easy Pass on my windshield, so it just takes out the money. So to say, if you go over this bridge, this small bridge or whatever, it's going to be $3. But if you don't, with the easy pass, if not, it's going to be 850 or something like that. So people are going to say, man, this is.
And so, what this is going into is the ease with which people have to pay things, to make transactions, to do things without an actual physical the physical transaction taking place. It's all digital. It's all through the airwaves, radio scanning and things of that nature. Okay, that's talking. He's talking about the Easy Pass. Easy Pass is in every I would say every state at this point. There may be some states out there in the West, where it's just straight wilderness and roads for days, and that's the only way to get somewhere. Is take one road all the way east or west or all the way north and south. It's the most direct way and the only way due to the infrastructure. So the Easy Pass might not be in those areas, but anywhere where you have a very large population with a whole lot of infrastructure, the larger cities, you're going to have that Easy Pass. It's everywhere now. And you go through those, and it's all done by radio scans. They got the overhead scanners, set up almost like traffic lights. So they just hang over the interstates and over the freeways, and they're as soon as something comes close, I guess it triggers some mechanism within milliseconds to take a picture of each passing car. Probably gets the front and rear license plates. Okay, and then if you don't have an Easy Pass, of course, you're gonna get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you took this toll road, you gotta pay. All right, so they don't even really. It's not even anymore really tolls that have physical people there. I remember, I'm in Florida now, but I've gone back and forth, from North Carolina and Tennessee to Florida for years. Okay, many years I've gone back and forth. And back in the day, you come through Florida, you got tolls you got to pay, and you got a physical person that you got to pay a toll to. You know what I'm saying? They got a little, set up. You can pay them cash, or you got a little change thing. You throw the change in there. But one year I came through, and I saw they were like, no, do not stop. Do not stop. Just keep going. So they got rid of the physical tellers, and then you would pay change, and then they just said do not stop because they had already installed those scanners overhead to where you don't have to stop, just keep going. You know, keep the traffic flowing, and now it's a simpler system. And now they're gonna get everybody. There's not gonna be any physical transactions. Somebody can make some mistakes. Any of that. Nah, you going through flat rate. You have Easy Pass, cool. If not, you gotta pay. So that's the ease with which things have, moved in this direction towards the MOTB. Again, there's not going to be any more physical money. Okay. So the same way they do a digital scan, or it's a picture really. It's a picture. I won't say digital scan, but it's a photo. They take a photo, all right, and then that photo goes into a data bank, and it gets, goes through a couple of algorithms, most likely, and then it gets sent to your home. But you got, you can pay with cards now. Again, tap to pay, insert, it's reading the chip. You got your phones on your card, so you got the digital wallet on your phones. Okay, they got palm readers now, and that I guess your palm scan is linked to an account somewhere that you have actual, well, not actual money, but digital money in there. But all this stuff is it's all going digital, and soon it's not going to be any of this. It's not going to be a card. It's not going to be on your on your phone. It's going to be inside your body. Now, that's not to say that your phone isn't going to be linked to these things, okay, or not your phone. All right, speaking to the Atham, the 144, and the elect, and the 1/3. But for anybody that's under the sound of my voice, just saying, these phones are going to be linked to these chips and things of that nature. But again, it's going to be in your body. That's going to be the answer. All right, the once and for all answer to this system that they want to put in place. And when I say they, I mean the wicked. All right, so-called WHITE man that we know is the wicked upon the earth. All right, who covered the faces of the judges thereof. All right, if not, who and where is he? Okay, according to Job. All right, let me play a little bit more of this right.
Bullshit. I'm gonna have to get it. They forcing you to get it. So anyway, when I went to the DMV, I went further upstate to Peekskill, New York, which was a nice little ride. And I thought they were going to do the same thing. I said, let me give it a try. Spirit said, go ahead, go ahead up there, go ahead up there. And sister said, you're supposed to get set up an appointment, but hey, I'm gonna let you go. I said, oh, the water to the sister. She gonna get a blessing. So I was in there for about 25 minutes tops. Now, what they want you to do is get an enhance ID. So at one point, if you left the country, you can use a passport or you can use an advance ID in New York or any of the states. I know it's in New York, and that's been out for years. Now, domestically, let's say I wanted to fly from, let's say I want to hop on a plane and go from New York to, let's say South Carolina. That's not too far. That's inside the country. But in order for you to do that, you better have a passport or a enhanced ID. So I didn't get one. I said I ain't getting one. I ain't planning on hopping on no goddamn planes. But it's getting closer and closer. Mm-hmm. And pretty much when you accept that advanced or enhanced ID, that's one step closer to the mark, which is a real life.
Right. So now it's getting closer to the dream that I had. And so the dream that I had, all right, it took place in a prison state system, not unlike the system that is in place right now throughout the U.S., aka Babylon the Great. Okay, we know that this is a prison state society. All right, they want everybody under surveillance, which they're almost there. They want everybody under surveillance through their phones, but now they want digital sidewalks. They got the CCTV everywhere. They've put cameras on light posts and lamp posts all throughout the U.S. and especially in major cities. They're there. I've even known to where they've had cameras in certain areas. Now this is going into areas that they know have a lot of so-called criminal activity, but they've even put cameras hidden in trees. All right, so you might not even know it, but you may be in an area where they got cameras in trees now. So everybody's under surveillance. Okay, the whole state is under surveillance, and usually heavy surveillance like that is reserved for an enemy of any certain nation state, right? But now the surveillance is on you, the citizens of the U.S., aka Babylon. All right, so this corporation known as the U.S., the United States of America, has surveillance on all its employees. Okay, because that's what the citizens are at this point, just employees for the money-making machine that is Babylon the Great. And you're constantly being surveilled. And that's what it is in prison. All right, for anybody who's been down, anybody who's spent any time in jail or prison, you know that the whole place is under surveillance. All right, there's very few places that you can go within a jail or a prison that do not have cameras. There are some spaces, okay, but there's very few spaces that don't have some sort of surveillance or cameras, and it's the same thing in the U.S. today. Okay, so everybody is being surveilled. They know where everyone is at. Even those folks who go off the grid, so to speak, all right, who go off the grid, They may not be paying for every utility that everyone else is paying for, but they're still being surveilled. Okay, if a plane or a helicopter can fly, or a drone at this point can fly over, look down, and see you, then you're not necessarily off the grid. Okay, you're still able to be seen. You're still able to be touched. They so feel they need to send a drone and put a pow pow or a bang bang on any person who considers himself off the grid. They can do that. So you still can be touched. So you're not truly off the grid. All right. For those who say they want to go off the grid or who are off the grid, you're still being surveilled. You're still being surveilled. The only place on this planet that you can go and not necessarily be surveilled is underwater at this point. Okay, that's the only place that's not under heavy surveillance is certain parts of the ocean, simply because they don't have the capabilities to go deep. Okay, they tried it, and a lot of I can believe that Leviathan made short work of that. With the latest, what was it, 2 years ago? They sent that drone or whatever you would call it. Okay, little machine. You know, can't. It's not really a submarine, uh, but some sort of manned machine or something that they went down in. I think it was like 3 or 4 people or whatever. You can go find it. You can go look. Ended tragically, okay, for them, because they were trying to go so deep, and a lot of I can believe that Leviathan made short work of that, or some other sea creature made short work of it. Okay, they want to say it imploded under the pressure. I'm not really believing that, because these things get tested years in advance before they send it down. you know and so I believe it had plenty of power to withstand pressure just from the ocean depth. Okay, but not enough to withstand pressure from, say, a squeeze or a bite from a huge creature of the deep. All right. So, and it is what it is, man. It is what it is, right? But that would be the only possible thing you could do to really get off the grid, is go down in the deep parts of the ocean. Anyway, back to my dream. So, it took place in a prison state, not too much, different from the prison state that is America today. And what had happened is that I was in a facility. There was a push all over the land to get these digital IDs, okay? And you were going to have to get the digital ID in order to work, in order to receive food, certain benefits, whether they be government or from an employee. If you were an employee of some place, in order to receive your pension or your medical benefits or whatever, you had to get this digital ID. And so you had to go to a facility, and the facility that I recall seeing was like a prison itself, okay? And there were a bunch of people in line, okay, lined up to get this digital ID, and a lot of them were reluctant, okay? But again, they needed to support their families, they needed to eat, they needed to have a job, they needed to, have the benefits. And if you didn't have it, all these things were going to be cut off. Not much different from what they're doing now. They're saying you're going to have a digital ID and a passport in order to travel. And by the way, when you travel, you're going to have to pay fees if you're going to Europe and this, that, and the third. But, it wasn't unlike what's really happening. Okay? But it was like here. It was here, and it was the push. And it reminded me also of what happened several years back with the 19 sticker. Okay, we all know what happened there. Hey, look, you had to have that thing unless you was, you gonna lose your job. You couldn't be out after a certain time, and it was a huge controversy. Come to find out, it was all nonsense. Dr. F, a man by the name of Fauci, ended up it came out that he was just a con. And all these people who got it, well, you got it now, okay, and it's a detriment. It's a detriment to you. But long story short, there was a push happening for this, for this digital ID, okay? And so a lot of people were lined up, and it was just you could feel in my dream, you could feel the tension, okay, from having to accept this thing. So what you had to do was you had to go. There was a long line for it, all right, just like the long lines to get that 1-9 sticker. Okay, there was a long line within this prison type of building down the hallway, and so I'm just I'm walking along, and I'm not skipping the line, but I'm just walking along all the people that are in line, and you could just see the look on their face. The look of they were destitute, okay, sad, depressed, okay, but they were doing what they had to do. So I'm just walking along, I'm looking at them, and I get to the front of the line, and there's like two windows. So once you get to the front of the line, you can go to this window, go to this window, and somebody hands you a paper, and on this paper it's basically like you signing your life away. Okay, so you got to sign up to get this thing. All right, and then you go into another room. I didn't see what was back in that room, but I guess that's where you got the picture taken. All right, so now I walk back out into because you walk down the hallway, and then that line went stretched down the hallway, and then hang a left through a door, and that's where those two windows are set up. All right, so I walk back out into the main hallway, and I'm about to head, back out. Right, and this dude, he looked like a janitor. He was pushing a mop bucket. It was a brother, all right, Israelite, and so he's about to walk into, I guess like a janitor's closet, and he says, "Hey man, you getting that thing?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't getting that. I ain't getting that shit." He was like, "All right, yeah, cause you don't." He was like, "You don't want to get that joint. You don't want to get that joint." He was like, "You know what it is?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a digital ID, right?" He was like, "Nah, that ain't all it is, though. That ain't all it is." And then he went into the janitor's closet. So he didn't explain everything about what it was, but he just hung his head and was like, "Nah, that ain't all it is." Almost as if he had taken it, you know, almost as if he had taken it to keep his job, but kind of trying to give forewarning, like it ain't just no digital ID, you know, that ain't what this thing is about. And so from that, I continued walking out. I was like, man, I ain't accepting that shit, and that was the end of my dream. You know what I'm saying? I woke up after that. So all praise to Yahawashi, Yahawashi, all steadfast in the dream. But again, that's the time that's the time that it's coming to. That's the time that's coming to. It's going to be a push for this thing, and that's what Elder Apostle Tahar is speaking about. That's what the video that he's laying back and off is speaking about. And I'm gonna just get this out of the scriptures right here, because this is what the lead up is for. This is Revelation chapter 13. I'm start at verse 11. I'm start at verse 10 just because I like that verse says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints." And I love that because again, there's retribution that has to take place, man, for all the wickedness and the nonsense that these devils have put on not just us today, but our forefathers. All right, led us into captivity. All right, so then they have to go into captivity, and they kill with the sword. So then they have to be killed with the sword. All right, and that is the patience of the saints. We have patience, all right, for salvation. All right, and also retribution. Okay, so that's the patience of the saints right there. All right, I love that. So anyway, verse 11 says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Okay, so two-faced. You know, speaking, come, looking in the physical like it's all good, and this thing is going to be uh, pushed as as if it's a benefit for the people. Okay, all right, but these are fork-tongued devils. They're dragons. Okay, so they don't have any pure thoughts for our people. Okay, and even pure thoughts for their own people at this point, really. All right, which are going to be collateral damage in this whole thing. Okay, so they appear physically like the lamb. Oh, this is all good for you. All right, it's not going to hurt you. We're here for you. All right, but really they're dragons. Okay, ready to devour. And it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from the heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So there's going to be some things that, you know, there's going to be wonders, okay, uh, quote unquote miracles. That's what they're going to be called by the masses, all right. But it's all going to be technology, all right. It's all going to be science and witchcraft, all right. And it says, verse 14, and deceiveth them all that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live. Okay, so this system has, been a dogma and a doctrine unto itself that a lot of the people have followed after, all right, and have wondered after, all right. Going back to the times of the Roman Catholic Church, which is still here today, okay. But the time of the Greco-Roman Empire has continued on into this day, and the doctrines and dogmas that have crept up within this society and within that ideology of the Roman Catholics has inundated everything. In other words, everybody has been infiltrated by that system. Okay, here in the U.S., you still have a WHITE Christ, okay, as they call him. All right, which goes back to uh, the Roman Catholic Church. All right, along with Caesar Borgia in the image that they depict him as being the Messiah. All right, you go to people in Japan, the Ammonites, Moabites over there, Korea, China. They have that same imagery, but it's a lot wider, actually. So it's wild that the Caribbean, South America, parts of Europe. Okay, now there are parts of Europe who have the old icons and the old images of the apostles. Okay, and the one whom the world ignorantly calls JC, Yahawashi. So you have those icons over there, and they depict Mary as well as people of color. All right, brown people of a brown complexion. All right, from some of the lighter browns to the very dark browns. All right, but they're all brown. Those are some of the original images and depictions of the apostles and people from the scriptures. But of course, all that changed from the time of the Romans and on. So they changed the images of the judges thereof, and even going back before that to the time of the Greeks. We find that in Maccabees, all right, where they started to change the image of the prophets, okay, and of the apostles and our forefathers. So we find that in Maccabees in the time of the Greeks, and it continued on when you get to the time of Herod, which was an Idumean, in the time of the Romans, and on towards to day. Okay, let me get back to this. He said, verse 15, and he had power to get. I said that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live, because we know that the Greco-Roman Empire fell and was wounded, but it's still alive and well today. Okay, so that's what I mean by this society is a doctrine and dogma in and unto itself, where people still worship and rely and love this system. Okay, instead of having their trust, love, and reliance on Yahawah Yahawashi. Okay. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Okay, so how do you worship? How do you worship someone? You give honor, reverence, and praise to them, and you have a lot of people who give honor, reverence, and praise to the system that is in place right now. They don't want it to end. Okay, in fact, they don't want the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to have his only begotten Son come back and visit this place. Okay? They don't want to be visited by the Most High. Okay? They don't want Yahawashi to return. Okay? If you talk to, and this is talking about a lot of Christians. If you talk to a lot of Christians, they do not want Yahawashi to return. Really and truly, they don't. They'll talk about, God got me, and I'm too blessed to be stressed, and I have my personal relationship, and this, that, and the third, yeah, yeah, yeah. But they do not want Yahawashi to return, because that is the end of this system. It's the end of this system. All right, their cars, or the cars they want, all right, that they plan on getting, the houses or the houses they want or plan on getting. All right, they got dreams. They got aspirations for this kingdom. They want to level up. They want to see what's next. They're going after the bag. All right? Let the good times roll. All right? Living for the weekend. All right? Where we going? Where we tripping to? All right? You got passport bros. All right? And trips for the 304s. All right? Everybody's looking for the next thing in this society. They don't want Yahawashi to return. They don't want this place to be destroyed as it is right now. This place has got to be terraformed. Okay? In other words, it's got to start fresh. But a lot of so-called Christians don't want that. Okay? They are reliant, they love, and they send up praise and honor to the system that is right now. Let's just keep it all the way straight. Keep it all the way 100. That's where they're at. All right. It says, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor. Okay, small and great. Whether you have a status in this society or whether you're homeless in this society, right? Rich and poor. Whether you got some money in your pocket or whether you struggle, all right? Whether you live in a huge house on a big plot of land, or are you in the burbs, all right, or in the PJs. It says free and bond, whether you're imprisoned, all right, or whether you're walking around still in a prison state, Thankfully, you can see the trees, the grass, the green grass, the sky, and all that stuff, but the air is polluted, the water's polluted, the ground is polluted. All right, so whether you're free, somewhat, okay, or bond, imprisoned, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And that's the end all be all for the Idumean. Okay? That's when their surveillance system is going to be complete. Okay? And once that surveillance system is complete, they're going to bring hell. All right? That's the lamb and the dragon. The lamb is going to be done at that point. The lamb is going to be done at that point. And the dragon is going to show forth. Okay? So we already know these people are dragons, but there's a lot of people that don't, or there's a lot of people who choose not to see it. And they're just going on about their days willy-nilly. Okay, again, looking for the next best thing in this society. Okay, oh well, that don't affect me, or he It's not affecting me right now. I still gotta wake up, go to work, pay my bills, boom, boom, boom. And then the weekend comes and I'm good and I go out and have a party for 2 or 3 days and start the cycle again. So he ain't affecting me, So he's a lamb. They are a lamb right now, but the dragon is going to show forth once you receive that mark in your right hand and in your forehead. Okay. It said, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right? Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 threescore and six. And you see a lot of movies, literature comes out in songs, and they're putting that imagery out everywhere, and we know that's the image of these devils, and they play with that number. A lot of times they'll number it as 66. They'll leave one of the sixes off, but we know who they are. They're playing that game. You can see it in the Disney logo, and so many other logos out there. They also play with 33, because a lot of them are Freemasons and in Freemasonry. So they know all of that numerology and they play with these numbers. Okay, but the scriptures tell you that straight away that's a number of this devil and his beast system. Okay, matter of fact, they say that when Apple started, it was sold for $666 and 66 cents, something like that, right? And the reason being is because he was a mathematician and he liked repeating numbers or whatever. But that's all lies, right? We know these people are worshipers of Hasatan, okay? And they worship this beast system. Again, they put their trust in this beast system that is alive and well today and has continued from the times past. And it was really, again, the Greco-Roman period, the time of Hellenization that took place. The system was jump started in that time, but it's the same wickedness that has roots in Babylon, Egypt, okay, and all those societies of past that were inundated with witchcraft. Okay. So again, stop talking again. But that was my dream. I didn't take it, but that was a push toward the digital ID. Okay, my dream was about the push toward the digital ID, and we know that digital ID again is just one step closer. There's probably only a half step after that, not even a full step. There's only a half step after that digital ID to the MOTB. All right, we're there. We're in that time. So these prophecies are unfolding right before our eyes. Let me play a little bit more of this video here.
ID. Remember years ago they were trying to push the real ID out there. People wasn't having it.
Real ID.
Now they kind of cornering you to get it. So I'm gonna let this play. Breaking news: UK will implement digital ID mandatory for all adults in the UK. Now this is what I'm gonna do. UK will implement digital ID mandatory for all adults.
And that's in the UK. All right, and the UK is the financial arm of Babylon right now. All right, that's where the big money is held for Babylon the Great. All right, you got those Saudi princes and stuff in Arabia. They got big money. They might have their own banking system, but really you look at them, they say they got big money, right? But truly, the huge money is not just from them. Okay, there's so much more money circulating, and a lot of that money is held by Edomians, within the U.S. All right, within Babylon, and they keep their money in offshore banks, and a lot of that money is also held in the UK. All right. I may have to do another video on that. Just maybe a quick TikTok or something like that, where I put out that information. Okay, but yeah, the UK. So the UK, in other words, is just another arm of the beast system. Okay, so the beast has many members, of that body, right? The UK is just another one. All right. I mean, the reach of this beast system is worldwide. Okay, but the UK has a very strong is a very strong member of that body. Okay, so the things that are happening over there, you can expect them to happen here in the U.S. Point blank. Period. Right. Things that are happening over there, you can expect them to happen in the U.S. A lot of things will take shape in other countries as a testing ground to see if the system works, see how the people react, do long-term studies on how they can tweak it, make the systems more effective, and then once they have all that figured out, they implement it in the U.S. and it goes off without a hitch. Okay, it goes off without a hitch because they figured out all the ins and outs. So they think. All right. So they think.
Okay, let me go to the Google.
Another scripture too.
And we know this is the wolf, but the wolf is 10 miles away. We can see the wolf. We're telling the people that the wolf is coming, so get ready. The ones that don't get ready, they're going to get taken out by the wolf. Okay, give me a second here.
Let me go ahead and get this. Let me go ahead and get this scripture right here too. Again, because a lot of people have their trust in this beast system. Okay, they have their trust in Rome. All right, in Egypt of today, instead of putting their trust in Yahawah, Yahawashi, the Heavenly Father, and His only begotten Son. So this is Psalms 141. All right, well-known Psalms right here. I'm sorry, verse 8. But mine eyes are unto Thee, O Yahawah. All right, O Ahlah, O Ahlah Yahawah. In Thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. All right. In Thee is my trust. In Thee. In Yahawah, Yahawashi, man. All right. So that's who we're to trust in this time that we're living in and in the time that we're coming to. Okay. Listen, there's going to be some jobs lost. You might as well get ready for it. Okay. Not necessarily saying with the digital ID, but with that MOTB, all right, micro C hip, there's going to be some job loss. You go ahead and get ready for it. All right, store up your coins now. Do what you can, okay. But ultimately and truly, your trust has got to be in your Yahawashi. That's what's going to get you through. It's not going to be your food stores. It's not going to be your underground bunkers. It's not going to be the 401k. It's not going to be the big house with the multiple rooms. Okay. It's not going to be your bug out bag. All right. It's not. It's going to be Yahawah, Yahawashi. Get ready. Okay. Get ready for what? Have your scriptures ready, or better yet, begin reading the scriptures and have the law stored in your heart. All right. Because the only thing that's going to get us through is trust and reliance on Yahawah, Yahawashi, man. All right. That's it. And that relationship, that personal relationship that a lot of people talk about, well, you can have a personal relationship. Listen, I can have a relationship with somebody right now. Do I know anything about them? Okay, is it all surface level, or is it for real, for real? The only way you're going to get to for real with Yahawah, Yahawashi is by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which in the precepts that can only be found in the book. Okay, that can only be found in the scriptures. Okay. A lot of people need to stop talking about they going to, Sunday school, Sunday worship to get that relationship with Yahawashi and knock that dust off of their scriptures and get to read. Okay. It says, O Yahawah, says, my eyes are unto thee, O Allah, Yahawah, in thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. Okay, the gins, the snares and the gins. And a gin, what a gin is, okay, I got the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, okay. Some of these words that are in the scriptures, people may not know or understand what they are. All right, so there are books like this out there. You can get a paperback. There might even be some hardback copies I'm sure you can find. I just got the paperback copy right here, but it talks about what is a jinn. Okay? It says jinn, a trap to ensnare game. So these people look at you like a wascally rabbit, okay? Out of Looney Tunes or something, man. They look at you like they duck hunting. They look at you like a duck, or a beaver, or some game. All right, maybe even some deer or something like that. They didn't set a trap for. All right, and they're looking to ensnare you. These dragons, these devils, are looking to ensnare you. All right. They put the C19 bait out there, okay? A few puppets to say, you need this, and if you get it, you're good to go. But you go and you get it, and now you're ensnared. Now you've taken something, inserted something within you that's no good for you. You've been ensnared. All right? That was a jinn, and you fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Okay? A trap to ensnare game or to deceive and destroy. These people want you destroyed. Okay? That's why they set the jinns out there. They want you destroyed. Are you going to fall for it? Or are you going to trust in Yahawah while Yahawashi? Psalm 141 verse 9. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me and the jinns of the workers of iniquity. These people are workers of iniquity. They're not looking out for your best interest. They're workers of iniquity. If you worship and follow Yahawah, Yahawashi, then how is a worker of iniquity going to have anything good for you? These are snares and jinns that they've set up. All right? Don't fall for it. Verse 10, let the wicked fall into their own nets. Okay? They set these systems up. Let them take it. Let them take it. Let them take the C19. Let them take the MOTB. Okay? Let them, have dealings with all this science and techno nonsense that they have out here. Okay? That's good for them. They came up with it. They can have it. All right? It says, let the wicked fall into their own nets, whilst that I withal escape. Okay? Well, whilst I withal escape, because I'm not trusting in their techno babble, man. All right? That BS that they put out here. These jinns, these snares, and these traps, okay?
Oh, this guy subscribed to him, Alpha Male. I didn't know. I just realized in this video, he was on Shark Tank. So I said, oh shit. They showed the actual clip of him on Shark Tank. And I think I saw that episode. So anyway, he gives you like advice, men's advice. Let me see. Let me go here.
Speed it real quick.
It's about women, stay single, and I agree. Okay, let's see what happens. Maybe this is fake news. Let's see. Starmer to unveil digital ID cards. And this guy just met with, I guess he's the prime minister.
Let's lock it. Let me see.
A digital ID, they're going to start with a digital ID that's connected to biometrics, that's connected to you in every different way, and eventually it's going to go to the MOTB. That's how things work. It's called gradualism.
Right.
Okay, and this is a plan that every nation on the earth is going to.
Yeah, gradualism, which we talk about all the time. All the different Israelite camps that give reverence to the elder apostles talk about gradualism. They I won't say they coined the term, but they've used it very heavily in videos and lessons that they've done in the past. From years ago in the past, they talked about gradualism, and it's so true because that's how these devils work, man. All right, that's how these devils work. They put things out there to put it in your subconscious and get you more comfortable, as time goes on with certain ideas, so that by the time they drop something and put it in place, you're like, oh well, it's no big deal. It's just like such and such that happened a couple years ago. Well, yeah, because that was just getting you ready for what's happening right now. It doesn't mean it's okay. It doesn't mean it's for your good, but you were gradually indoctrinated to believe that it's okay. That's how they work.
Start adjusting to, right? And it's only a matter of time before it hits America. Something's going to happen. Digital IDs are going to be implemented and forced upon the people. And eventually those digital IDs are going to transfer to the MOTB, right? This is the likelihood of them introducing it. I had it on a chat a while ago. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to find it. So I asked the chat, if America were going to it should have been implement an RFID microchip on CBDCs, what stages would be first? Do you think a digital ID will be implemented? It's lucky for all the incorrect spellings on here, but it says short answer yes. A national digital ID or a set of interoperable digital IDs would almost certainly come first, or at least in parallel, before any program to link implanted RFID chips to a US CBDC, right? This is stepwise roadmap most plausible. Policy signals, conditions, lawmakers, Fed agencies, Congress Administration Commission Studies Task Force to report on digital ID payments and Homeland Security. It says CBDC design, technical pilot, central bank, private partners.
This thing is going to be monitored heavily and surveilled heavily by the Department of Homeland Security. It definitely is. The Department the Department of Homeland Security is going to be monitoring this whole system. All right, and they're going to have the NSA watching things. They're going to have different special operations branches of the different military branches on board with this whole system, surveilling it. All right, locally and regionally. So it's going to be a whole systematic way of checking to make sure people are in compliance. Okay, don't get it twisted. It's not going to be some local workshop that's sitting in a room somewhere. The lights dim. Halfway working, just fumbling through some files. Making sure people are signing up on this thing. No, it's going to be a whole setup. All right, that's why they have these quantum computers set up, because you got billions upon billions of people on the earth. It's a lot of information to catalog. Okay, so they're going to have to be running algorithms, AI, and all sorts of mess to make sure people are in compliance with these things. All right, cataloging all this data. All right.
This is the point. Digital ID rollout, state plus federal plus private sectors. The practical rollout usually starts with mobile driver's license, MDL pilots, and interoperable EID systems. State and vendors already are integrating IDs into wallets and toucher standards. Digital ID ecosystem scale before anything that attaches to the identity of the body. So this is going to be the precursor to the chip. and this is breaking news right here, right? So without any further ado, let me play this real quick. Let me play what he said.
The Prime Minister has signalled that he is going to announce tomorrow plans for all adults in the UK to have a digital ID card. As Keir Starmer is expected to reveal more details on that, but it's understood he believes the ID cards will help them crack down on illegal immigration. It will be a form of...
There you go. There you go. All this thing that Nero's doing is a big stunt. Everything they do is a series of stunts. And this whole Kirkland, I changed his name. Charlie Kirkland. Put in Charlie Kirk versus Charlie Kirkland. See what you come up with.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk.
So anyway, so you heard it right there. You know, this is going to be happening in the UK. It's happening. They just announced that's what it is. All right, they're going to be getting a digital ID in the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom is an island. You know, it's an island, and so it's very easy to lock down certain borders within that country. Okay, United Kingdom, Great Britain, it's very easy to lock down the borders over there. So if people are not in compliance, you don't leave. You don't leave. Nobody, nobody comes in. Nobody gets out. That whole scenario, okay, which also lines up with the scriptures. All right, man shall want to go into a city and shall not be able. You know why? Because you don't have the digital ID. You don't have the right sort of paperwork. All right, which is no longer paperwork. It's going to be digital. So that's where it's going. So again, I had that dream. I had no, foresight, no foreknowledge to know that this was about to happen in the UK. But I did have the prophecies to go on to know that these things are taking place, and this digital ID has been thrown around for a long time now. It's just now we're at that time. So I had that dream, and now here we are. Here we are. And I got family in the UK. I got family in the UK. So, they're gonna have to be put into that system, just like everybody's gonna have to be put into that system. All right. But again, it's one step closer to the MOTB, which the MOTB, you're going to have to refuse it. You're going to have to refuse it or face utter and total destruction in the time to come. But anyway, I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not going to read or not going to listen to any more of the video. You can go back and see it. The title right there, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. UK, let's say UK will implement digital ID mandatory for all adults in the UK. So let's put on Elder Apostle Tahar's channel. What is the 666 Mark II GMS Truth for anybody who wants to go back and watch it. But again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Lord willing, this video is edifying. With that, I'm going to say shalom.